Allison. Welcome to Mod3 Style, where we help you learn to modify your clothing to make them modern and modest. Today we are going to add cap sleeves to a dress. Now, if you are someone who prefers to wear clothing with sleeves, it can be incredibly frustrating. Say you go to a store and you see a beautiful article of clothing there, and the only thing it's missing is sleeves. You're left with just two options. One, you do not buy it just because it's missing sleeves, or two, you buy an article of clothing that you feel like has a problem. Now, sometimes I see people who've bought that article of clothing try and solve that problem by adding like a t-shirt underneath their dress. There are times where a t-shirt under a dress can look fabulous, especially if the dress is incredibly casual, like a jumper, but most of the time that just does not work. Another thing people will do is add a shrug or a jacket or a sweater over the dress, and this can look really great. However, it can also conceal the silhouette of the dress, so I wanted to give you another option. You can add a cap sleeve to your dress. Now, a normal sleeve takes a lot of fabric, but a cap sleeve takes as little as 2.5 inches. I believe most dresses have fabric somewhere on them that is enough to add a cap sleeve. So the trick that we're going to do is take the fabric from the dress and make the cap sleeve out of the dress's own fabric. That way it looks like it was part of the original design and no one will think you added a sleeve to your dress. Now, not all dresses are great candidates to add a cap sleeve to them. I've got my dress forms here. The blue one my students have named LaFonda. She's modeling one of the 4 dresses that I thrifted so that we could add a cap sleeve to it. Now, the reason this is a great dress is the arm side. The arm side is just an awesome sewer word for the armhole opening. Do you see how the arm side lies kind of parallel to the side of the body here? It lines up right where the shoulder meets the rest of the body. That makes it a great candidate for a cap sleeve. Now, our little red dress here has the opposite problem. Do you see how the arm side comes up into the neckline like a halter dress? It would be really awkward to add a cap sleeve here. It would seem like the sleeve is coming right out of the neckline. So watch the dresses you choose to add a cap sleeve in and try and find an arm side that pretty much lines up with the side of your body. If it comes in a little bit, it will be okay, but we don't want it to scoop too far into the bodice. So I chose the 4 dresses I chose because each one has a different hiding place where that fabric is that we're going to take out and make a cap sleeve. Now, we're going to use the same pattern for each one of these 4 dresses. It is a super duper easy beginner pattern and you can absolutely do this. I have made them in 5 sizes and they're all available on my website, mod3style.com. They're free, just print them out. It'll take 2 papers and just tape them together and cut it out. It's very simple. Now, I want to show you how the pattern works. Once you've printed it out, it will look like this. The way the pattern works is it's actually self-lining, which means you will not have to hem the edge of the sleeve. It will fold in half along the fold line, like so, and attach to the dress like so. Okay? The different markings on the pattern, let me explain. So here's our fold line. This little line right here is to indicate where you'd like to match it up with your shoulder seam. And this is called a double notch. That indicates that this is the back of the pattern. It may look like the front and the back are exactly the same, but they are not. If you fold this up like so, you can see there's more fabric in the back of the pattern than the front. And that's because our shoulders come forward, and we need extra fabric along the back, and we need less fabric in the front. So anytime you can't figure out the front and back of a sleeve pattern, just figure out which side has the most fabric. And generally, just so you know, patterns generally work that 2 notches is our side or back, 1 notch is the front, 3 notches is center back, generally. So that's the way our pattern works. We will just cut it out, fold it up, and insert this into a dress, a simple little cap sleeve. However, if you do not have 5 inches of fabric anywhere in your dress, you can do as little as 2.5. What I've done with this little piece is the back side is a different fabric. If you can only find 2.5 inches, you can still make this little sleeve, like so. In that case, I just folded it on the fold line, laid it on my fabric, and gave myself a tiny bit extra seam allowance and cut it out, just the same, just using 2 fabrics instead of 1. So one of the best places to find extra fabric for a cap sleeve would be from the length of the dress. So you take it from the hem. Now, as a tall woman, that's just not an option for me. If you're someone who has length to spare, I am happy for you. That's awesome. That's going to be the easiest place. You can just cut it out of the hem. But none of these dresses had any length to spare for me, so I'm going to show you 4 other places you can find fabric. Now, the first dress is a little 50s inspired dress with pleats in it. It was several sizes too large, which you can see from the picture. That is a great place for fabric to be cut out, is when our dresses are too large. So what I've gone ahead and done is taken in the sides already and left that fabric there for you to see. Now, normally, if I was to take in a dress for a customer, I would do it the very professional way and take in the lining separate from the main fabric. But when I do things for myself, I do cut some corners, and I did in this case, which you can see here. So I've taken in, I marked my line, and I've taken in that fabric all the way from the hem up to the arm side. And now I can lay it down and fit my little cap sleeve pattern right along here, just like so. What I'm going to do is use the seam, the old side seam, to be the seam that would be the hem of the cap sleeve. So we'll go ahead and just pin this down and cut it out, and you can see how that's going to look. You can pin right through paper. A lot of patterns are made out of paper now, free online, and you can certainly pin right through them. So I'm just going to put a little mark right here to indicate where I would like it to match up with the shoulder seam of the dress on both sides. So now you see what will make our little cap sleeve. We'll take this and turn our dress inside out and show you. I will take this and simply, that's the back side, attach it. The fold here is going to be your hem, And you can start by stitching these together as a step one if you'd like, and then just attach it right like so to the dress. So that's our little 50s dress. I will sew that and show you a picture when it's done. All right, dress number 2 is this little ruffled 90s inspired dress, or actually maybe a 90s dress. I'm not sure how old this dress is. Now, when I saw this dress, I was really excited because I like the black and white print. I like the ruffles around the neckline, but I was super excited to see this little rosette. It kind of was a bit of nostalgia for me. I think I wore one exactly like this to prom. Maybe it was a little bigger. But one of the reasons I'm excited about a rosette is it takes quite a lot of fabric to make a rosette. And I knew I could cut that little flower off and lay the fabric out and add cap sleeves to this dress from it. So that's what we're going to do. So this is what it took to make that rosette. I am just going to cut off that serge. You could unpick it, but it's not enough fabric to make a difference. So I'm just gonna cut that off and then open these pieces up. Let's see how we did. All right, it's not going to be large enough to self-line, but I can set this down here, like so, pin it in place. I will just add a 3/8 inch seam allowance here for the additional seam that we'll add to add a different lining. Okay. So I will cut just a cream colored lining the same. Stitch this edge, and then this will be ready to make a cap sleeve as well, and we'll add it to the little flower dress, like so. All right, dress number 3. Hey, dress number 3 is a little Calvin Klein dress, and it's the only one of the 4 dresses that's a knit, so it'll be a little trickier. The thing about this dress is there's definitely no extra fabric in the width. It is a little bit tight. It's a body hugging dress, and I do not want to lose any length. And so this is a really tricky place to find fabric, and it's actually in the facing. Now what a facing is it's the fabric that's used to turn a neckline or a waistline or your arm side. Do you see all of this fabric here? This could be used to make a cap sleeve. Now it will have a seam. There will be a little seam here, but it won't bother me. So I am going to lay my pattern right along here and cut that cap sleeve out right here. Now I will need to deal with this facing and I don't want it to kind of flap open. So I'm actually just going to use a little bit of fusible glue to fuse it down. That way there will be no stitching showing from the front. So I'm going to start by kind of just cutting this facing out. Okay, this is the trickiest of the four. We're going to need to kind of angle it the best we can to make our pattern fit. So we're going to angle it just like so, and then we just barely have enough. I'm going to try it this way. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be probably the best way. It may be just a 1/4 inch short in length, but it won't be a problem. This dress has such a unique color, this robin's egg blue, that you could not walk into a fabric store and find a fabric that would match. That's why it's so important to find fabric somewhere hiding on the dress. And this is going to be perfect. This is going to be our little cap sleeve. We will have a little seam out the back, but that will still look really great. Okay, and dress number 4 is a little Liz Claiborne dress. It's a fit and flare dress. Now you can see from the picture, it actually fits great. I guess I should stop here and tell you that my adorable little dog, Coco, decided she wanted to be in all of these pictures. She is the cutest thing. She's named after Coco Chanel because she's a designer dog, and she looks like a puppy, but she's 3 years old. So I just had to talk about her. All right, so this little black dress has what's called godets in it. And I'm gonna show you here what a godet is. So this dress has what's called a godet. It's spelled G-O-D-E-T. It's probably a French word. It's pronounced godet. And it's a triangular piece of fabric that's inserted into something to give it flair. This is the godet. There are actually, I believe I counted 9 in this dress. So you can add a godet to a sleeve, you know, to add flair to a sleeve. You can add it to a pant if you want to kind of a belled bottom look. And you can see on the dress, it's fitted to the hips, and then it has all these godets inserted. And these lovely godets are just the right size for a cap sleeve. And so I'm going to take the godets on the 2 sides and cut cap sleeves out of them. I need to make sure I get it in the right spot. Okay, here's my side godet. Because here's my side seam. And here's my side godet, and I'll do the one on the exact other side as well. So they're symmetrical once I sew it back up. So I'm going to just set this down here and pin it in place and cut it out. Okay, here's our fabric. I'm going to just fold it in half and kind of pin it to itself, like so. I've got a little bit of the seam still there, but it won't show once it's sewn to the dress. So now I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to the sewing machine and I will sew this back up really simply by laying it on itself and following one of the stripes down, just to make it less obvious. We'll lay it down and I'll follow maybe this stripe all the way down. I am also going to stitch on our little cap sleeve. So there's more than one way you can do this. You could do it right sides together. First of all, find where your back is, okay, with your knot to make sure it's on the right sleeve. So my back will go here, and you could do it like this, kind of right sides together, and then it will flip under, like so. However, this stitching has, this particular dress has really nice little top stitching here, and I am just going to slip this underneath like so. I will iron it first so we have a nice crisp edge, and then just stitch right on top of that top stitching that's already there. I'll probably serge or zigzag this edge. If you don't have a serger, you can also just use pinking shears. So I'm gonna go do that now. Okay, so we're gonna start by removing the flatbed attachment for your sewing machine. It's really nice if your machine has a really small plate here. This happily will fit around it. So we're going to start and just jump right on top of that top stitching and follow it to the other side. Here is our perfect little cap sleeve made out of the fabric of the dress, so no one will know you added it. Now keep in mind, generally we want that front of the cap sleeve to kind of fade away a little sooner than it does in the back. And cap sleeves are not intended to go all the way around the arm side, probably like 7/8 full right at the bottom. You'll have just a little bit that doesn't have a cap sleeve, and that's typical for cap sleeves. Okay, so let's take a look at these before and afters. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy my before and afters of these dresses, and I hope you go into your closet and find the hidden cap sleeves in those sleeveless dresses that have been driving you nuts. Thank you so much to the people at Hive Channel 5 for filming and broadcasting this. If you like this, please go and subscribe to Hive Channel 5 and see the other great tutorials they have to offer. And please join us again.